Folks, welcome back to the DNR podcast. I'm Ben the Bane Davis. This is my co-host Riley Osborne, and we're going to be talking about episode 11 of The Challenge, Vets and New Threats. What an interesting episode. Riley, we've made jokes about this guy all season long and his intelligence, and I think today's episode, everything was really confirmed in big ways on none other than Gabe.
Dude, I feel vindicated. Like, we have been saying this the whole season, and the edits have not shown what we've said. And finally, it was like, now it is clear as day that we weren't making it up. We weren't talking out of our ass. Literally, and we'll go into it in more detail, but literally what we were calling for happened, and it worked exactly as we said it would work. I was watching it just like, yes, it was so satisfying, dude.
It's a train wreck that you saw coming 1,000 miles away. And for everybody like watching back home, I lived with this dude in a house for a month, right? Everything I was saying on the interactions,
right?
And literally in the bed fucking above him. And I don't like, I do like Gabe, and I want to make that very clear. And he's getting some serious slander online, and some shit's going a little too far. I don't condone that. But, he's exists in his own reality, which is severely detached at times from ours, and I don't think the common sense that like we all abide by is something that Gabe subscribes to, because he is just so easily persuaded, manipulated, and believes the last thing he hears, which is so funny because like he's like that except for when it comes to John A. Like, for whatever reason, John A. can't manipulate or persuade Gabe whatsoever, yet everyone else in the house can. You know, like, the one person that should probably be in his ear directing him simply can't get into him, which is... I don't know. There's something ironic about that. But I do want to take it to the top of this episode. So, obviously last week, CT and Tay go home. When they're arriving back to the challenge house, you get the graveyard shot. I was there. A little bit of a graveyard shot, because this season we've lost a good amount of people, right? And I think early on in this episode, you sort of put the pieces together that, man, Olivia and Theo have lost more members of their alliance than damn near everybody else in this fucking house.
Oh, it's actually unreal. Like, her entire alliance has evaporated in front of her. She was the only one that was able to hold it down. I mean, they came for her, but she held it down and was able to stay in the house. But everyone else has, it's evaporated. We even talked about at the start of this season how, like, wow, she's really coming in here. She's rolling deep. Like, she's got a huge alliance. And now it does not feel that way at all. But she still played her cards perfectly. She still did exactly what she needed to do to get the outcome that she wanted this episode. Very impressive from her. Very, very impressive gameplay from her.
It's pulling the strings. And I think, like, this season, now we're getting both halves of Olivia. Olivia in charge, in control the first half. In the second half, she's operating with limited resources, yet still having the same success. It's such a beautiful season from her. And we're going to get to that manipulation of Gabe later, but let's take it back to the beginning of this daily challenge. So, effectively, I forgot the name. I don't know if you remember the name of this daily challenge. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So, basically, you
balance on the beam challenge.
Grab the resistance bands and balance. So you grab these, weighted objects that can be as big as a barrel, weighted with sand or tree stumps, and they've got resistance bands, and you're kind of like tying it around a beam, and then one of the partners walks out on the beam to get the flag, and then you're done. And
the more bands, the less tilt.
the less tilt on the beam. Now, I don't want to criticize, because this is a season where we've seen some entirely complex daily challenges, but this feels like one where the crew was like,
dude, the whole episode.
we need something.
I'm not going to lie. This was my favorite episode of the entire season, just because it was such a roller coaster. Yeah, and I'll explain it a little bit more. But my favorite part was just how, like, it was so simple, but it worked.
Yeah, because it was hard.
It was arguably one of the, just like you said, weirdest challenges, but it somehow worked. Now, the first thing that I noticed, and this actually kind of came true at the end, was trying to calculate, okay, how many bands do we need? Yeah. Initially, I kind of thought, in theory, that band most likely is not just going to rupture. you can put a lot of weight on those bands and they won't rupture, even if you get only a couple on there. But you're going to deal with crazy bend.
Yeah.
And as we saw with Gabe, who, first things first, that was crazy, the bend he got.
Dude, it was...
You could do it with crazy bend, but no one really even tried that route. Almost everyone went the route of just get a bunch of stuff quickly. Now, again, Jeremy's partner, I'm forgetting her name, sorry. Aviv made a huge tactical error early, and that was, she seems very strong and very fit. You can tell just her upper body's really strong. You know, she seems like she's in great shape, but it just, the barrel was too big for her. She just couldn't get a good grab on it. Even some of the taller girls were able to get it on their shoulders. It obviously wasn't insanely heavy. I don't remember exactly how heavy it was, but she just couldn't get a grip on it. So she had a really awkward grip. That totally screwed them. And
not only her making, and Jeremy even says grab a stump, and she disregards it and fucks them over. But even when they get to the point
where, to be fair, she saw a lot of the other girls grab it, and she's as strong as them physically, so she's
stronger.
Making that
stronger.
Yes,
Aviv
exactly,
is like she does CrossFit super frequent. Like, she's maybe a little older. She's a mom, but like, bro, that girl is in shape, way more. No disrespect to like Nani or Ashley or some of the rookie girls, but like Aviv is very, very athletic. And to watch her struggle in this was odd because not only was it the barrel that was being a limiting factor, but she couldn't balance on the beam, which is something that I thought that her and Jeremy were I thought they were gonna fly through this challenge. I thought Aviv was gonna be slinking out on the beam. She's very, very small, very short. Have no issues with the balancing, but both of them got fucked up on that and was just deeply surprising. And now, listen, we'll get to them losing today's challenge, which is crazy. But I do want to talk about the winners for a moment. And Derek Kaczynski, because Derek Kaczynski, he's in like no man's land this entire season. I don't think he even knows where he's at, right? And he does like in their little on-the-fly interview.
He's on a TV show.
He's like, I'm just in Chile with my friends.
This guy keeps showing up and challenging us.
What are you guys filming?
This is just my life.
It's actually his house, and we're just like inhabiting it, and he's just going along
camp somewhere, like in Chile.
He's escaped from a Santiago, like high security, maximum security prison.
He got imprisoned by Pinochet 40 years ago, and he's been there ever since.
But it's not unfair to say that Derek has really not found a footing this season, whether it be socially and politically, whether it be in the daily challenges. Like, he's just not lighting things up whatsoever. But he's staying under the radar and staying alive, and he's inoffensive to many people in the house. He's a nice guy to be around, so no one wants to vote him in. That's where he's at this moment. And it is kind of funny because we're at the crossroads where we've got the upstairs, the downstairs alliance, the closet alliance, the super alliance, and he's literally just like, yeah, man, I'm going with whatever. And with D in the OTF, he was like, I'm just learning the Survivor way right now. Buddy's just picking up tools at the moment, you know?
It is working, though. It is working.
And it worked so beautifully today. Like, I think they clicked super well. I think they've got a fun vibe. When you watch this episode and you see their moments, whether it be in the confessionals or the OTFs or their shots from the daily, I'd like to see more of them. It looks like they work well together, and they do make fun TV. And, bro, today they win, which is crazy. Derek, he hasn't won a daily this season. D, she won the very first daily challenge, and now she wins the 11th daily challenge. And it's just, I don't know. I'd like, if there was a team that I could be like, man, it's cool to see him win, I did like D and Derek getting it done today.
Yeah, and I think she deserves a lot of the credit there, too. She got out there on that whatever you want to call it, early, and she was like super low, center of gravity, really, really looked really strong there and made it happen. That was exciting. And then the most exciting part, obviously, we just see people kind of coming in. Doesn't really matter because there's no points anymore. So that's the only frustrating thing, is it really is first and last that matter, and the whole in between is a wash. But still, so everyone else is kind of washing through, but it gets close with Gabe and Jeremy at the end. What do you think about how that ended? Because how do you pronounce her name again? Gabe's partner?
Aviv. Or no, John A.
John A, yes, sorry. So John A, she is obviously struggling. You can see she's really physically fatigued. So I think that had a lot to do with it. He was just like, and then she has this partner who he was awful. Unbelievably awful. I think that D is a great example where her and Derek, on paper, They don't seem like they have anything in common. They don't really seem like they were each other's first choice.
In opposite alliances the whole season for the most part. Yeah.
The whole thing. And then they're like, we're together now. These are the cards we've been dealt. Let's make it work. And they're making it work. They're winning. Their teamwork's working well. They looked at the cards they were dealt and they were able to adapt. Gabe cannot adapt at all. He does the complete opposite. At the start, we even see her just trying to build some rapport with him in any way, trying to, she gives him that hug and he just literally shrugs her off. Like, I was watching that. I was like, what is your game plan here, man? Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
And the insistence from Gabe that John A doesn't have a social game, doesn't have connections in the house is beyond stupid. John A is a 2-time fucking champion. She is a veteran of this game. She's played many seasons with a lot of these competitors. And, like, I'm sorry, Gabe, but here's the brass tacks of it. Your fate is intertwined with hers, right, intelligently. So just try and make it work. And he doesn't at all. And the one moment in the daily challenge that I want to cite as the biggest example of their dysfunctionality is John A goes out on the beam, falls off, and then as she's coming out of the water, what does Gabe do? He tells her to run and get another band. And she's like, I'm just like, Gabe.
Was that because they weren't even allowed to double dip the run?
I'm not entirely sure, but by her reaction, it kind of informs me that
they were.
Right, because why would she be surprised and annoyed if it was by the rules not possible,
and she's
right?
like clearly exhausted and covered in water, and I was like,
and again, this is a guy who spent all season talking about how much he can do, how competitive he can be, and then like when it comes down to it, and we'll talk about this in the elimination as well, he just cannot put the results on the board.
Well, but this is what I loved, Ben, because in this moment he does prove himself. He does, right? He shows how valuable he is as a player. He gets out on that beam against all odds. Yeah, literally. They edited it funny where you don't see that where he kind of grabs it and starts getting back. I was like, how does he get back? And they kind of edited that out, so I don't know what happened there, but I mean, that was unbelievable. That was unbelievable that he was able to do that. I was genuinely blown away. It was it's like this, and he's what, 230, 240 pounds?
Huge. A 6'6". I don't understand physically. And he literally says this in the confessional. I'm about to break the laws of physics to get this done. And he does. And I will give him all the respect and credit in the world for that, because like that's a clutch play. And I'll take back my words a little bit about him not putting stuff on the board. He puts that on the board, and that is totally warranted.
He completely falls apart. Like this is the story of like this is like the story of Icarus, right? Like he flew way too close to the sun, and it worked out. Yeah, it worked out for him for 10 seconds. He builds this false sense of confidence, and then he gets burned. So obviously, daily challenge happens. Jeremy comes last, which I was actually quite surprised by. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I don't know where the issue was there. I thought that this was, frankly, one of the more perfect challenges for him, and it just didn't manifest itself that way. So maybe the other teams are just getting better with these challenges or whatever, but he's losing a bit of that dominance edge we saw from him earlier in the season for sure. No?
And absolutely. And now he's going into the sand, right? Last, you're immediately sent in, and it's just it's a little bit, I don't want to use the word unreal because it's not like he's this god, but
he makes it seem that way though.
Yeah, because he's
when
so
you first
good.
meet him,
he's so good at so many things, and of course in the elimination, right, lives up to that again. But in this daily challenge, right, you compare just on paper Jeremy and Aviv to every other crew that was out there, and if I didn't watch this episode and you were going to ask me who's going to come in last, I would never pick Jeremy and Aviv to fuck up the most on this challenge, right? So it really is just odd. But what's really crazy about this is, like, they take second fiddle to what occurs after the daily challenge. Usually when you come in last, you get some screen time, the cameras are on you, how are you processing with going into the arena? No, what we're shown is Gabe getting manipulated for 25 straight minutes and then making the dumbest decision of the season.
Okay, but watching the manipulation was, dude, I was I was like a pig in shit. It was the funniest thing I've ever watched because we have and I hope that we have some listeners or viewers that have been consistently watching us, because over the last, I think, 2 episodes of this show that we've done, we specifically said that you could just go up to Gabe and tell him, dude, you could take anyone. Like, what are you doing? And he would go, yeah, I could.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened. Like, it's literally Olivia going up to him, and you can just see her being like, dude, you don't have to deal with this. John A., she's horrible for you, bro.
Liar.
She's a
liar.
She's a liar, a liability. You've got to get out of there, man. You have to challenge someone. You have to throw someone in. He's sitting there being like, she is all those things. Meanwhile, all we've seen is her trying to do her part for this team. Him and be awful.
They've never spoken, right? Up until that. It's like the only reason that Olivia's in that room, Gabe, is to mess with you and stir you. Theo put on a masterclass of like getting the ball rolling on this by sitting down with John A. and being like, man, so who are we throwing in? We all doing Ashley, right? And then when John A's like, oh, I don't know, he leaves and instantly goes, so John A's saying Ashley.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Fucked. Walks right in, Gabe. Bad news, dude. You're fucked. You're in deep water, bro. Yeah, everyone's saying it.
Everyone's saying your name, bro.
They've got him cornered in the they're each on one side of him, and it's just a barrage of they're just breaking down his mental barriers. And they're not tall barriers. You know, like they're breaking down the walls, and they're not. You know, this is like a wooden fence built up by some guy's 80-year-old dad. Like they just break through immediately, and you can just see his brain just like over. He's just like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? And he just can't figure it out. And he's just like,
have to. and this is my only way, really. Yeah. But then what's crazy is you cut to the scene of him talking in the kitchen, and Aviv is like, you never spoke to us. Like, he talked to 3 people and was like, this is how the entire house thinks, and didn't talk to anybody else.
And 3 very specific people that are all on the same team.
Like, Gabe, come on. And this was the moment where it's
dude, he was literally, he's like standing on Noah's Ark, and there's like 2 other people there, and they're like, bro, you gotta get out here, man. You gotta get out here and check this shit out.
Hey, before
dude,
we take off,
there's
Gabe,
like a hole in this. Yeah.
He gets off, and the Noah's Ark closes and takes off, and he's like, oh. No, like, because think about this. He wasn't at risk. Michaela, Ashley, Leo, like that whole upstairs crew, they were engineering to get Theo and Adrienne in on back-to-back eliminations, which I think is smart, right? They've got the numbers. Keep pummeling away at Olivia. Out of nowhere, Gabe goes, I'm at risk. Like he's done every single week. And this time it costs him. And it's just really frustrating because, you know, earlier in the season, it was only going to affect him. But now, at this point in season 41, you're fucking John A. over to a ridiculous degree. She hopped off the couch, right? Less than 12 hours notice, flew to Santiago to replace Cara Maria, and got stuck with the worst partner on the season. I'd like you, Gabe, but holy fucking shit, you are. And here's what's crazy is like that's kind of been what his MO is, right? He shit on Naya instantly after being partnered with her, which caused such a ruckus and a stir. Did the same with John A, despite her being a 2-time champion, having so much more experience. And I hate citing specific moments, but just because I think it's important. Like even when they're trying to do that fun game where they're going around the room and Dee and Derek are having their costume party, Gabe's getting an attitude over nothing. It's like, bro, she hasn't done fucking shit to warrant this toxic-ass treatment from you. And it's just...
She hasn't even...
Why?
She hasn't even been there long enough to warrant that. She hasn't been there long enough to either prove or disprove her value. She hasn't... He hasn't given her any opportunity. And anyways, to get back to it, obviously we go through that. His brain is turned into putty. In one of the greatest plays by Olivia and Theo I've ever seen.
It's masterclass.
Masterclass. Like, this is 9th inning Grand Slam play. Like, they know they're about to get broken up. And once he's gone, once Theo's gone, if he loses, which I think he would have, because that was Jeremy's bread and butter.
They're coming for Olivia then.
Exactly. So this was such a clutch play. It works out perfectly in their favor. But even so they get to the elimination. We get to the elimination.
No, hold on.
Sorry, the vote.
Haven't even...
Yes.
The nomination.
The vote. The nomination. And when Gabe elects himself, then we have to talk about this because he goes, I'm going to pick Nani. Immediately, Nani's like, yo, I don't want to be your partner. Like, she is so not on board for this because he has not only burned his own relationship, but in the progress, he's shown that now he's not a good teammate. Now he's not loyal, and he will throw you to the wolves, which is what he's doing. So no one is going to want to work with him. This is someone and says it. I forget who, because it was just like it was a far shot, and then it's a voice being like, "There's no way." I'm forgetting what they call it word for word, but they essentially say there's no way that this challenge is beneficial in any way.
That's Michaela popped up and she's like, how does this work for your game? How is this best for your game, Gabe? To stake a claim when you're not at risk on a partner that you haven't worked with ever and don't have a relationship with. Like, what on earth are you doing? And I will say, I think it's funny that Gabe looks up and down the row of potential people to go one-on-one against and goes, I want the gay man. Like, Gabe, could you be more homophobic? And this is the thing, is like, people underestimate Justin. They've done it all season, and I get that he's got he's feeling himself. My man's is confident, but he's putting up results, dog. And so Gabe selects him, and they go one-on-one, which is effectively, again, a very simple on paper challenge. Run up the mountain.
Ben, I just want to talk about it very briefly because the word I'm mentioning is someone mentioned that to nominate someone to do this challenge, the elected challenge. What is it called? You knew the name there?
Oh, the run up the mountain and puzzle.
No. Like when you challenge someone else.
Oh, stake a claim. I'm staking a claim.
Yes. They mentioned that to stake a claim essentially doesn't make any sense. Like, if you actually sit down and think about it, it really doesn't make any sense at all. You are putting a massive risk forward to be able to give yourself the option to be 50-50 eliminated.
The only reason it makes sense is if you know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, you're going in. So you stake a claim before the nomination to kind of save your ass, in the sense that now you're shaking up the partners and you could really fuck with someone's ability to vote you in after that point. That's the only scenario in which I think this staking the claim nonsense works out.
But instead, you get to run up a mountain right before going to the elimination. So you're pre-fatiguing yourself. So it's really, I think that in 99% of instances, it's not intelligent to stake a claim. I agree with you that what you just described is the only instance where it could make sense.
And even then, it's like,
still a stretch. It's still a stretch because, again, now you're potentially going to go into the elimination with someone that you don't know, right? I agree with you that it would be worth it. It would be worth it in that regard, but yeah, you stake a claim with someone that you're not going to get voted in with. Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Yes. I agree with that. I think that's how it'll manifest itself later. But in this regard, there was no way at all. So yes, go back to the challenge itself, which is the run up the mountain.
And what's funny is, like, again, Gabe has been so vocal about his physical capabilities. Justin beats him to the puzzle by barely. They're close. And then Justin beats the fuck out of him on the puzzle, makes it all the way down the mountain, and it's unclear if Gabe even finished the constructing a cube.
He doesn't.
Which is, exactly.
It is clear. According to the editing, he doesn't.
He gave up, yeah. And listen, making that cube is something that has been in past challenge seasons. And a lot of the people on this rookie cast, including Gabe, have talked about the many seasons that they've watched. So that shouldn't have, I don't want to say that shouldn't have been a surprise, but it's like,
okay,
come on.
I'll push back on you a bit on this one, Ben.
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying you've seen it before.
I'm saying that the way he was building this thing didn't even make any sense. He was building it up.
What was he building?
Seriously. It's like, it's a cube, Gabe. It's supposed to be a cube. And he's stacking, like, way vertically. Like, just, like, there was these towers sticking out of his cube. I'm like, there's no way that this is even in the right direction. Like, you aren't even on the right path, bro. Like, he's building this fucking, like, ramp. Oh, it was like, you've used all your boxes, and one side is twice as tall as the other. Like, it was driving me crazy.
It fucking, Justin's like putting it together, and then it cuts over to Gabe, and he's got like a fucking Taj Mahal recreation.
It's just all over
like,
the place.
How did you do that? Yeah.
Two things. Sorry.
Yep.
They ran up together. Did you notice that? Because I was curious. It was an unknown distance. They said the same hill as before, but it obviously wasn't because it only took them 30 minutes. So it's an unknown distance run. Those are really tough because you don't want to just – you don't know how hard to push. You know, one-on-one, it made sense that they kind of locked in on each other. Neither of them used that opportunity to gain any space. I thought that was interesting.
Interesting and also funny because Justin did use that time to just slander Gabe and shit talk him the entire run to the puzzle, which I think is so fucking funny. Like,
dude, never go toe to toe with a gay man's banter. Like, do
never,
not do that,
bro.
They'll getting
beat
cooked.
you.
Every time you're getting cooked. Like,
the gays know how to target you, bro. The gays will get you. So Justin smokes him. He keeps his partner. Gabe sends himself into elimination when he wasn't even at risk. And, so we get to the arena, and they find out it's a climbing challenge. I think the game is something called Pull It Together, where effectively one of your partners is climbing this loose cargo net, pulling these pegs out, and then the other partner is picking them up and putting them into a rock wall, constructing a pathway to a button at the top. And honestly, for most viewers that instantly saw this, probably immediately were like, oh yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I will say they were closer than I thought they were going to be. I thought that Jeremy's team was going to blow them out of the water. And it's funny because watching it, like, for John A, Gabe almost gets in your head where you're like, oh, yeah, he's going in here with a it's like, oh, maybe he's got a weak partner. Because, like, that's all I've been seeing all season is, like, this interaction with John A that I'm like, am I missing something? Like, why is he so anti-her? She gets up there toe-to-toe exactly with Jeremy's partner.
With Aviv, yeah.
With Aviv, toe-to-toe the whole way. So it comes down exclusively to Gabe and Jeremy.
But I think somebody says something to the effect of, Gabe, you've talked so much shit, yet John A is the one, right, keeping up. And now it falls on to Gabe, right? Because I think Aviv and John A ended about the same time. Jeremy smashes this. And Gabe, he does good. But, I mean, when Jeremy had, I think I put it down somewhere, Jeremy had like one peg left, and Gabe had about 4 or 5. And
they have to go, they're only allowed one at a time.
Yeah.
So that is like 4 clean reps.
He's lapping him.
Yeah.
And
those last ones take exponentially longer than the first ones as well.
But I would say this, this is one where I feel like what burns you out on some of the earlier climbing challenges have been the thin handholds and kind of the issues with blowing your forearms out in that way. With these pegs, it's easier to get up and down. I'm just going to say that.
Dude, this is easier than the one I did, okay? I know. I'm telling you, this is easier than the one I did.
Look, guys, I know I was eliminated 3 years ago, but let me just say...
You are right. You're not wrong at all. Like, this is not... Yeah. There's no difficulty in the climb. The climb is a cardiovascular event.
It's the speed.
You could see, especially, like, when Gabe fell off, I was seeing the fatigue in his legs. Because, like I said, this guy just ran right up a mountain. How long do you think before? A couple hours before? Is that the same day?
I would say that he probably had, between running up that mountain and then heading to the arena, maybe... I mean, honestly, a pretty good amount of time to recover, like 8 or 9 hours, I would say. Maybe 6 to 9.
Okay, so maybe that's not a huge impact, but still, you could see the legs were blown out before Jeremy's were. Jeremy was much more efficient with his movement up the wall, whereas, Gabe even says it. He's like, I'm just trying to grizzly my way up this wall. So he got, frankly, Jeremy cooked him, totally cooked him. So he gets double cooked in the same day. And I thought that was really interesting because this whole time, that Gabe thinks there's no one that can't one-on-one him.
That's all he was saying the first month of being there, is that anyone in the sand, he'll go toe-to-toe. He's not afraid. I know what I can do. I can beat every motherfucker. And
now two of the guys two of the guys beat him.
Yeah, two of the rookies. Not even like, I mean, granted, again, he beat Bananas. We've given him the credit and the flowers for that, and it is commendable. But like, yeah, getting your ass kicked twice in one episode that's
poetic.
Tough.
It was all super. Yeah. It was like the most poetic episode ever.
When you weren't even at risk. I can't even emphasize this enough. If Gabe just shut up, stayed out of the way, Theo would have been in there. And I don't really rate Theo in that elimination because we talk about cardiovascular.
He's getting loose.
He has
loose.
No endurance.
Oh, my God.
So it's like he's got no stamina. So it's like Jeremy would have sent Theo home, and then Gabe could have rolled into this upstairs alliance, held on for another, probably 3 more episodes because they would have just whittled away at Olivia and then Anissa, and, he would have been probably fine, but he just can't get out of his own fucking way, which is so, I mean, that's his whole season in a nutshell. Like, Gabe wasn't beaten by Jeremy. Gabe was beaten by Gabe, ultimately.
Every single step of the way. Every single step of the way he was beaten by himself. And in a funny way, it's like maybe next week it's a hall brawl. Maybe next week the elimination is something they would have dominated in, and he doesn't get to be there to see it because he put himself in such a bad situation. But I think it also showed, like this episode showed, that this guy, yes, incredibly athletic. That was it. Zero political game. Zero ability to solve puzzles, zero ability to, anytime they threw anything at him that wasn't just very straightforward, run up this hill, run through this wall, be physical.
Even the running, the stamina, speed, he didn't have those. It's just brutality.
Anything. Yeah.
So
one thing he dominated at.
And I want to clarify again because we have been ragging on him so much. I do like Gabe. He's a nice guy. In fact, the vision that I have of him is that he is a aloof big teddy bear, and that he means well. He just is so. He does not know what is occurring and what is going on.
He played football.
And he played football. He was on the practice squad for an NFL team, and then he did like collegiate and pro rugby before his WWE tenure.
That explains literally everything.
But I will say, before we close out today's episode, we do have the statement from Gabe on, his loss. So here's what he had to say on Instagram. He said, "One thing about me is owning up to my faults. John A., you're incredible. I should have listened more and given you the respect that is deserved. Your strength inspires me. Fearless, supportive, kind, generous, loyal, determined, and resilient. Thanks for teaching me a valuable lesson. Although our time on the challenge has ended, we will be back." Now, challenge stuff, great follow on Twitter. They do caption this by saying everyone hopes to not see Gabe again, but we need villains and people to root against. He's always causing mess and drama. Which
bars,
is
first off. Absolute bars.
Bars in that, I disagree with this. I don't think Gabe was a villain, but he is someone that is easy to root against by virtue of his inability to operate effectively in the social and the political sense and the ego that he carries for no reason at times, right?
Yeah,
so
villain applies like a moral standing,
like
whereas he never had it. Ben, could you do me a favor? Hit your mic again. Harder. You have been assaulting that thing the whole episode.
I'm sorry.
What is happening?
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
It's in front of my elbow.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I agree with you though. Like there's a moral standing that would be applied to a villain that I don't think is applied to Gabe here. That being said, very easy to root against.
And I think in the realm of like making messy TV and being he's
perfect.
He's perfect. This episode would have had nothing to do with him if he didn't, jump into the fire and blow himself up. So I just think it's funny that he can steer what is like a totally logical, visible narrative, which is, okay, we're going to throw Theo and Adrienne in, and it's going to be boring because we just did that last week, but it's the numbers, and that's how the challenge works. But Gabe goes, nuh-uh, and just dives in for no reason. Like, I think people do need to appreciate that. I'm not saying respect it, I'm not saying love it, but appreciate the fact that Gabe was willing to always be himself, even if that at times was the most easily persuadable man I've ever seen.
Even if it was detrimental to his own self.
Completely.
He was himself.
Okay, so I think in terms of other small things that we can chat about really quickly is the reunion. So there were they filmed the reunion in Amsterdam over the weekend, and there were a couple interesting photos that came out of it. This one is actually funny to look at. So you've got Will, Johnny, and Dee at the reunion. I messaged Dee before we were chatting over the weekend, and she was like, "I'm gonna try and get Will and Johnny to she said verbatim, she's like, I'm trying to get him to kiss. I don't know what she meant by that. I feel like that's doable. I feel like you could probably accomplish that in Amsterdam with alcohol and whatever else Johnny has on him. So I'm curious, whenever this reunion comes out, if Dee did accomplish the task. But the fact that she took a selfie with both guys she was hooking up with is funny.
That is really funny. That is really funny. I'm surprised that Will. There's no holes in the wall behind them because Will is just wailing on the wall.
His knuckles are like bloody on the bottle he's holding.
That was still one of the most inexplainable things ever. It was just how. I bet he watches that episode back and is like, "What am I doing, bro? Like I didn't even care."
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I don't know. I'm looking through really quickly if there is any other notable social posts. Not really seeing too much. I will say, okay, this was leaked. This doesn't really mean too much to you, but the reunion host leaked. It's Devin Simone, who hosts the Official Challenge podcast, as well as having been on a couple seasons. So that's interesting there. I think she does a tremendous job on the Challenge podcast, as does her co-host. Wish they had me on. But I think that I think she's going to crush it at the reunion. All right, before we get out of here, Riley, any last thoughts on this episode? Gabe's farewell, his swan song from this season.
It was nice to see 30 seconds of Jake Cornish proving that he is actually on the show. He's there.
Guys, he's there. We promise.
He's on the show. I promise you.
Maybe he's in the background or he's underneath a table or a bed. You know what's funny is like he had an opportunity to kind of light things up this episode. He goes in and confronts Olivia and Theo, and he's like, "Did you guys fucking say that you're voting for Leo and Ashley?" And they're like, "No." And he's like, "All right then," and then leaves. And you're just like, Jake, stand on business, bro. That was your moment, you know. Like, God, I like Jake a ton, man, and he's probably the cast member that I've stayed in contact with the most because I knew him before we filmed this season. But it is frustrating because it's just clear that he was. I don't want to shit on the guy. Very passive, just way too passive.
Which is working out for him because he's a strong player, he's capable, and he's doing well. Like so, he's doing well at the game, which is what we were kind of saying in regards to Gabe. Is that's why Gabe is such good TV because he's just a train wreck. That's kind of my only point, though.
Yeah, what's interesting is like. There has to be something going on behind the scenes because with the blow-ups that Anise has had in the last couple episodes, you'd think that would give such ammunition to the house to vote her in because it's, Anise is causing a big rift, target on her back, this is easy, clean, let's vote her in. You know, she's being problematic. And that just hasn't appeared. And I know Anise has been playing for 300 years, and she has every connection in the book. But, like, I don't know. It's interesting that there haven't been ramifications which have affected Jake, which would have, activated him to try and play offense or defense in some capacity.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how that's happened, but they've done well to navigate that. So we'll see. I think we're looking for a bit of spice within like 3 episodes because I think it's going to be a full out assault on Olivia. She really has no recourse anymore. If they want to get her, they're going to get her. So she has to win, or one of her teammates have to win. And
honestly, she's fine because she's got Will. It's Theo, bro.
No, that's
Theo and Adrienne, they're fucked.
They're fucked. but once he's gone, I think they will come after Olivia.
Yeah. It would be funny if they got Theo out and they're like, "We're going to leave you alive to
as
deal
a memory. With the This was just to let you know what we can do."
Alrighty. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure you like, subscribe, leave some comments down below, your thoughts on the episode, your thoughts on today's DNR podcast. And guess what? We will see you in the next one. Catch you next week.